Delft, near The Hague and not far from Amsterdam, has traditionally been the city of great minds, of pioneering inventions, the city of lighting and innovation. Did you know that the microscope was once invented in Delft by Antonie van Leeuwenhoek, who was friends with the famous Dutch painter Johannes Vermeer? His whole life he was inspired by the Delft cityscapes and the inhabitants of Delft. And did you know that the most famous girl without a name is also from Delft? From this beautiful, colourful city, but also the city of blue, Delft blue. The classic colour that links the bright history of Delft with the future. Welcome to Delft.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of insideTauck. My name is Dustin Smith, and I work here at Tauck on the brand and marketing team. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today from wherever you happen to be logging in from. We have a very unique presentation today, an interview live from the city of Delft in the Netherlands with Edo Anceaux, and the tourism manager for Royal Delft Museum, as he interviews painter Laurent. For those of you unaware, this platform, insideTauck, is our monthly virtual event series created to share with you the world's great destinations, cultural sites, and expert knowledge from Tauck partners and friends such as Edo, as well as our internal Tauck tour directors and tour architects who plan all of our tours. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. You are all on mute. You're joining us today from Zoom webinar. If you do have questions throughout or comments, please type them into the chat function and I will monitor that and answer what I can, and we'll have time at the end for some Q&A with Edo. We'll do our best to get to as many questions as possible. It all depends on time and how much time we have left at the end, but we'll do our best to get to them. If you do have very specific questions about a tour you may be booked on, or anything about specific tours, please hold off on those and direct those to our reservations department. We're also streaming today live on Facebook, so if you do have any technical difficulties or want to invite a friend last minute, please go ahead and do that and direct them to Tauck's Facebook page. And please keep in mind that Edo and Laurent are joining us live from Delft, so you may experience a couple glitches throughout. We hope you don't. We hope it's as smooth as possible, but this presentation is being recorded and will be available on our travel blog tomorrow afternoon at tauck.com/blog. So let's get started. I'm first going to turn this over to Michelle Molnar, who's joined us on a number of insideTauck events. She's our senior product manager for river cruising, and she's going to tell you a bit about our programs that visit Royal Delft and introduce Edo. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle, and I'm really excited to share this experience with you. Tauck has been going to Royal Delft for over the past 20 years, and we have such a wonderful relationship with them. And I've had the pleasure of spending December in 2019 as we did a training trip. And this is the team behind me as we're going through Royal Delft, as our guests would. And this is in the actual museum. And behind me in this photo is a beautiful tiled picture of the Night Watch, a Rembrandt, and this is all done on tiles, Royal Delft tiles that have been hand painted. And you know, I still get chills from the first time that I've ever visited Royal Delft, and I see the painters painting with such ease. Do you know that it takes them 10 years to be official painters? It's just so interesting, and the unique technique of how they paint on the porcelain, and I will let you experience this firsthand during this presentation. We offer this program to Tauck guests on 2 different programs. We really hope that we'll be operating our cruises during December, during the holidays. We have some cruises that go from Amsterdam to Brussels, and they have a visit to the Royal Delft, and they have a high tea. and you get to do a painting of a tile. So you'll learn how to paint a tile, and you'll be able to take it home with you, and it's really exciting. So those will be in December, we hope. And then in the spring, we have the Best of the Netherlands cruise, which is a 7-night program, cruising Dutch waterways, which is round trip Amsterdam, where you'll also get a chance to visit Delft and have the same experience. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our team in Delft in the Netherlands. Ando, I give it over to you.
Welcome, Tauck, dear viewers from America. Welcome to Royal Delft, the old Delft Blue factory from 1653. Today, I will be your host and I will be showing you around our museum and factory where everything is still handmade. So back in the 17th century, there used to be 32 factories in Delft making Delft Blue ceramics. Nowadays, Royal Delft is the last remaining factory still producing hand-painted pieces. And some of the painters make really impressive pieces, like the piece behind me. This is a life-size replica of the night watch, fully hand-painted and made out of 480 tiles. So a visit to Royal Delft also includes coming to our beautiful factory and workplace. Here you can see our factory workers making everything by hand. And you will also, of course, meet one of our master painters at work. Making a hand-painted vase like this one takes about 4 days. So it goes through different stages. First we have a mold like this one made of plastic. And we pour some liquid clay inside the mold. Once that is dried a bit, we pour the remainder of the liquid clay outside and then you get a hollow shape. So after that, after a couple of hours, we open up the mold and take the vase out. This is smoothed off with a sponge and a knife to make it really smooth, and then it's fired for about 20 hours in a temperature of 1200 degrees Celsius. After that, this product goes to the painter, who will, in his turn, paint it with a black paint. So the black paint contains cobalt oxide, which will go into a chemical reaction when fired again for 20 hours. And that means it turns from black into blue, a radiant Delft blue. Make your visit to Amsterdam worthwhile by visiting Royal Delft. I really hope to see you soon.
All right, Ada, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle, for this lovely introduction. So today I'm here with one of our painters, Laurens, and he's painting one of the bigger vases in our collection. It's quite a spectacle to see. It wasn't on purpose, but he was already doing this the whole day. So he just continued with it. And Laurens, I have some questions for you, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, all right. Fire it up.
So how long have you been working as a painter at Royal Delft?
I'm here for 8 years now, so I'm pretty close to become a master painter. And like this especially big vase, normally it's only here for the master painters, but I guess it's the first time I make it, probably because I'm so close. And yeah,
this is the first time you're doing this piece.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, so yeah. It's amazing to make this one finally.
Yeah.
But I hope to be here for a lot more years and to be an official master painter pretty soon.
I hope so too. Just 2 more years, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me a bit about why you wanted to become a painter?
Why I wanted to become a painter? Well, I always had something with drawing and painting. You probably heard it a lot from kids. And I really liked to have a job in which I could express some creativity. And so I did an art school, but after that art school, I got a job in animation. And I was stuck behind the computer like all day. And
what kind of art school was it?
It was for 3D and animation, actually.
Okay.
So
very digital.
Yeah, very digital. And I really missed the fact that I couldn't touch the thing I was making, because the only thing I touched was the mouse and the keyboard.
Yeah.
And so after, I think, 9 years in animation, I really decided I need to create something that you can hold and that people really could buy and put somewhere in their homes and really admire it. And yeah, about at the same time, I stumbled upon an advertisement that Royal Delft was looking for painters.
All right.
And I've been born and raised in Delft, so yeah.
So now, while everybody else has their office jobs and they're sitting behind their computers, you get to do this.
I'm sorry. Like I was stuck with the computer. Maybe some other people really like it, but I really had to have something in my hands that I created.
Yeah. Well, and did you expect to do something this big?
No, not at all. I even didn't expect that I would be a painter here, but here I am.
So, if you take a look at your colleagues, what kind of person becomes a master painter? What can you describe that?
Yeah, I think first of all, really patient people. Okay. I think that's the most important. Yeah. You might think creativity, but I think it's more important to have a real good feeling for what you see, because a lot of the times we paint here, we copy something that has been designed like decades ago. Yeah. And a piece like this, it will take a while, so you don't have to be fed up with it within a few hours, because it won't be finished then.
Patience.
Yeah, patience, steady hands. And you should be willing to learn, because although you can draw, this is really a different game. So
well, that's also because you take a training of 8 to 10 years. I mean, regular studies nowadays take about 4 years maybe. Yeah. So that's what you say, like, okay, you need to be patient, but also in learning, you need to accept that after 2 years you're not yet a master painter. Yeah. There's still a lot to learn.
Yeah, and it's also about refining the style you have. Like, for example, with the driver's license, maybe you take like a few weeks lessons and you know how to drive the car, but that doesn't say that you can participate in the traffic very well. Yeah. So you really have to make miles to become, I don't know.
I think in America, it's even different. They don't take that many lessons as we do in Holland. They just go, they just drive. Maybe.
Then you know how the car works, but it doesn't say that you're good in participating in traffic. And like, this is about
I'm not sure about this, but
like putting a line on the disc is pretty easy. It is. To let it look like the way Royal Delft has always been making the pieces, it just needs a lot of practice.
So let's talk a bit about the production, because maybe the viewers at home can see this as well. They use a black paint to make this.
I hope.
So can you tell the viewers why it's a black paint?
Well, it all, at the very beginning, the Dutch saw the white and blue pottery first in China, and that's what they liked, and they also made it with this cobalt oxide. It's a mineral that is black at this temperature, and they made a paint out of that. But when you heat the cobalt oxide at about 1200 degrees, it will eventually turn blue, and it will stay blue forever. And that deep shade of blue, the cobalt blue, that's the blue that we like so much, and that's the blue we use for Delft blue. But that's why black at first, because
it turns blue when you fire it.
The mineral is black when you dig it up out of the ground or the mines or the
And the Chinese, like you said, were the first one to discover this.
Yeah.
I know that some people in the USA, they call ceramics China. Yeah. So that's probably the reason. And the Dutch, they refined it and they made it their own style, of course, which is what we paint nowadays.
Because I don't know, the Chinese pottery also has a lot less shades, I believe.
Okay.
And most of the decorations they make are really Eastern oriented, and like we try to make it a little bit more Dutch. Well,
that's great. And you say like we make a lot of different shades then here in Holland. So how do you make these shades?
Well, I think you just can't see it right now.
Let me show you guys.
Like this is my paint. It's all the black paint we talked about earlier, and I also got a bowl of water here. And I make those pieces with just this one paint, but the more water I add, the lighter shades I can make. And the less water I add, the darker shades I can make. So just with this paint, a bowl of water and a few brushes, I can make, probably a million different kind of shades, but at least enough to make, pretty decent pieces, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. And the people could just see, like, you have a lot of different paintbrushes here, right?
Yeah.
How are these made?
I have to say, this is only like 1/3 of all the brushes I have, but
how many are there? It's like 20.
Yeah, maybe even more.
Okay.
Well, when we buy them, like I don't buy them personally, that the company does it for us, but they all look like, for example, can we see it? Where's the camera?
Yeah.
They all look like this, just an ordinary brush. They're made from marten hair or squirrel hair, and nowadays we also have like synthetic brushes. I quite like the synthetic.
Squirrel
I have
hair.
to say, yeah.
Okay.
They are quite rare in Holland now because we have all their tails.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like whenever you buy them, they have like this shape. But sometimes for the fine lines, you need to have a very fine tip on it. I'm not sure if you can see it. But we just cut away the hairs we don't need so that we can make a very fine tip on the end of the brush. So we can make all those detailed lines. I'm really not sure if you can see it well on the camera, but and for the ordinary brushes, we use them to fill in some shades, for example. So you have a bigger brush to cover bigger areas indeed.
So you kind of have like 30 different brushes here, but there's 2 types. So there's the one with the thin part for the lines, and then there's the thicker ones for the coloring.
Yeah, if you really round it down, you should have enough and 2 brushes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great. So Laurens, this is a big vase. How long would it take you to finish this one?
Well, like I told you earlier, it's the first time I make one of those. But when I got it, my colleagues told you, well, like you'll probably be busy for about 2 weeks, so have fun. So I'm trying to have fun, and I think I'm doing fine right now.
Yeah, I get why you need to be patient. 2 weeks on the same piece.
I think 2 weeks. I'm busy on it for a few days now. You can see I only have the top finished and the bottom. Yeah. I started in the middle now. But
what's going to be on it? Is there going to be a windmill or what's on it?
It's a very flowery pattern in the middle with a lot of birds on it. Yeah, and it's hard to see, but in the background I've got the model.
Oh yeah. I see it. Yeah.
So yeah, it should look kind of exactly like that one.
So with some flowers, some peacocks, and basically a flower pattern.
Like the bottom and the top are a little bit more abstract decorations.
So what's your favorite piece to make?
I have to say that I do like landscapes, especially the ones with ships and seas on it. Okay. And we lately did this collaboration with the tattoo artist.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had a collaboration with Henk Schiefmacher, which is a tattoo artist. It was a completely different line than the traditional pieces, but here at Royal Delft, we try to make innovations as well. So we do modern designs in collaboration with Dutch modern artists, and that's a whole different challenge, I guess.
Yeah, but I really liked to change gears for a bit, and I really liked his style and the collaboration. But I think.
But other than that, you like the very traditional landscape.
I really like the old masters from the Netherlands is the ones we copy most, for example. But
I do think this is. You immediately know that you have a Dutch ceramic piece when you have a landscape, right? You have the windmills and the boats. And I know that you're really good at making landscapes because these are all like little paintings, right?
Yeah.
They are all like, there is no template for them. There's of course elements that they can use. So boats and windmills.
I was thinking, why do I like it so much? But indeed, it's what you say, like this pattern is laid out for you, but with the landscapes, you're indeed kind of free. And that's also part of it that makes it so amazing to paint those landscapes like everyone is a new painting.
And it also means that for the hand-painted pieces, that every one of these pieces is a unique piece, right? With really the autograph or the signature of the painter that made it.
Yeah, but even the paint strokes alone are like handwriting, also kind of specific for a painter. We try to copy the model as good as possible, but still every painter has his own handwriting, and that's also pretty nice to see, I have to say. Yeah. So if you take a walk through our shop, can you tell like this one is mine, that one is mine, that one is mine? Or I dare to take that one on. I think I will score a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. We should try that one. Maybe for our next event.
Nice, yeah. Then I don't hope I fail at it. Score only 3.
Yeah, we'll see. So, okay, I like this one. Did you ever break anything? Maybe when you just started here?
Do I have to call out any numbers or price tags?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I broke some pieces. Not many, I have to say. But the more common mistakes are those if you have a plate, like this is a small plate. You probably can't see it, but
let me show them. This is a birth plate with somebody's name on it.
Yeah, and it has a clear upside and downside. Like the stork has to fly normally.
Yeah.
But on the back side, there are holes to hang it on the wall.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And sometimes whenever you're finished and you turn it around to put your autograph on it, you discover that the holes are on the bottom. So you made it upside down. So it's not breaking anything, but it's not good. You can throw it away and start all over.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot more than breaking pieces.
Okay. Yeah. But luckily, this plate wouldn't take you 2 weeks.
No, this one doesn't. But I also, it happened with bigger plates as well.
And just for those 2 holes, you had to do it all over again.
Yeah, and we can't drill new holes in it because, no, it's really starting all over.
That's a terrible mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, then you really feel stupid. But, oh well, they say you will learn.
So, Laurens, maybe you can tell the visitors how much colleagues do you have? How many painters are there?
Well, at the moment, we've got only 10 painters.
Okay.
Because I say only. I wasn't here like in the 60s or 70s, but I've seen pictures, and then there were like about 150 painters.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. That's really a lot. Yeah.
But nowadays it's back to 10. And even back in the past, they had so many painters, but they had also like different painting rooms for the men and for the women.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So these times are a lot better.
Now you guys,
we only were 10, but at least we're together.
Why?
So,
were there a lot of romances between the men and the women?
Probably. I don't know. I wasn't there, but maybe.
Okay. Well, 150 painters and now just 10. It means that you guys are upholding the traditions, right? It's
I learned the trade by one of those guys that was there already in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, so they've seen it change a lot then.
Yeah, he worked here for like 50 years when he taught me the trade.
Yeah.
And maybe whenever I have worked here for like 50 years, I have to give the trade to the next painter.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I hope.
I hope so too. So how do we know if it's an original hand-painted piece? Because there's a lot of souvenirs in Amsterdam.
Is this a trick question? You want me to turn over this vase again, like it's 30 kilos or something?
It's okay. We can demonstrate with the plate.
Well, whenever a piece is done, we put on the back our signature. And I'm not sure what the viewers are seeing, but the 3 parts. I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but there are 3 parts. No, you can't see it. That are always the same. It's the Delft with above that a JT and a small picture of bottle. Those 3 are always the same.
Okay.
Left from Delft, the painter puts his or hers initials. Right of the Delft is a code for the year.
Okay.
And most of the times below Delft is a small code for which article it is, and that's
yeah,
more for our booking.
So, but that means that you put your own initials on it.
Yeah.
And then you know that it's your piece, right? So
yeah. So if people at home have some earthenware with at least these three, on the back, it's made here.
Yeah.
And if it also has like LAU, left of Delft.
LAU, okay.
Then it's made by me.
All right, so let me show you again. So this is how you'll know that it's an original hand-painted piece.
But it's also pretty cool. Like a colleague of mine once was in Africa, I think.
Yeah.
In a really small town, and there was one blue piece.
Yeah.
And he was just curious and checked the back. And it was like a buddy of his that painted it.
Oh, really?
Found it in the middle of nowhere.
That's great, because they're traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
So you can find it anywhere. So Laurens, you've been working here for about 8 years now, and 2 more years to go. What are the things that you really need to learn in these 2 years in order to be that master painter you want to be in 2 years?
Well, of course, you can always grow in painting. It can always be better. It can always faster, nicer. But one of the more difficult things to paint are portraits.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and
why is it so difficult to do portraits?
Well, first of all, the paint is pretty hard. Like everything you paint on, you can't go back
because it's absorbed, right?
So So with a human face, it has such small details that all have to be exactly right to really represent the person.
Yeah.
And just painting a human face, it really should look like that person without making any error. It's so hard. There is just no undo or back or eraser or whatever. It's what's on there is there.
Are there many painters here that can teach you that? Or
not many. Of course, we do have painters that make pretty good portraits, but if I have to ask for a teacher, I think I would have 2 options.
Okay, just 2.
Well, which I would like that they would teach me.
Okay. I'm not going to ask why, because they might see this live stream. Yeah. But okay. So that's your challenge for these next 2 years.
Yeah, I think so. Just perfecting that what I can do already and start with portraits. Within maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we'll see you paint another night watch one day.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like this is a big piece, but the night watch is something else. So we'll see.
We'll see about that. Okay. So thank you so much, Laurens. And
you're welcome.
I wish you the best of luck with these past 2 years of training. And with making all the pieces, of course, in this beautiful vase. And I do think we also have some questions from the viewers. I already see 47 messages in the chat. So.
Yes, we have lots of great questions, Edo. Thank you, Laurens, for taking us through that, but a lot of really good questions. First, since you were just talking about mistakes, if you do make a mistake with your brush, what do you do? If it's wrong, do you just leave it there, or do you throw it out and start over?
Well, both are serious options. Like this phase is pretty busy. So if I make a mistake somewhere where it is pretty busy or where I can make it a little bit darker, I could leave it there and just pretend nothing happens and go on. But for example, the plate we shown before with the text and the bird, if I make a big mistake in one of the white spaces or or in the name, we really have to start over. And this one with the names on it, it's also a special order. It doesn't come in the shop. It will be sent to somebody who paid already directly. And then whenever we make a mistake, we always start over again. Because with a mistake on it, it can also end up in the shop with a small discount. But if the mistake is too big, we don't offer it with a discount either. Then we just break it, start all over again.
Got it. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Was that loud enough, by the way?
Oh, yeah, that was great. Have you seen yourself making less and less mistakes during your 8 years, or is it just something that happens?
Well, I probably made less mistakes, but it's still something that you have some good days and some bad days. It still can happen, but I think at the end, on a yearly basis, yeah, they become less and less.
Great, good. Well, hopefully.
Yeah,
Um,
indeed.
We had a lot of people ask about the actual painting. You're doing that all freehand, correct? You don't have a stencil or anything on there that you're kind of looking at while you're doing it?
We do use stencils for pieces we make more often. Indeed, it's kind of hard to see on the screen. Like, that is one of the stencils. But
This is a handmade stencil as well. They use a melting plastic with a hot needle to put these pins in. And this can be used, and this is of course used not only because they wouldn't be able to paint it without, but also because they want all the vases to look alike a little bit. So that's why they use this. And they use charcoal powder to rub over it, and this goes through the tiny holes. But charcoal burns off when you fire it in the kiln. So that's why they can just leave the charcoal on it until it goes into the kiln.
Got it.
But so indeed we use those, and it's more like a guideline. I think it's pretty hard to see on the screen, but sometimes I also smudge it away, and that's why we do always use a model or reference pictures to know what to paint. And also the stencil only gives us the outlines and not the shades.
Right. Okay. Now, speaking of that model, that looks like it's ribbed. It has some ridges in it, and the one you're painting looks like it's smooth. Now, when does that happen? That process happen, or do you paint things that are already ribbed like that?
Well, this one is also already ribbed, but it could be that the mold is getting older, and then the ridges aren't as sharp as they should be, and maybe you can't see it that well because this one isn't glazed yet. But whenever something is ribbed, yeah, we just have to keep that in mind while painting, and it's a little bit harder to paint, of course, than a flat surface is. Yeah, but at the other end, the piece itself has a lot more of a classical feel to it. So, but it's a little bit harder to paint, and especially whenever you have to make bigger shades of one, bigger spots of one shade. It's really hard to make them the equal kind of shade, because in the ridge itself, the paint will go more often. So. Yeah, it's hard to paint, but the ridges are already there on this one too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's just hard to see through the camera. The other one looks very defined, probably because it's finished and it's blue. And
you can see the ridges
because of the glaze, I think.
Yeah.
Right, in the glaze.
Lighting.
Now, Laurence, do you ever have freedom to paint what you want to paint, or are the designs already made and you are painting them?
Well, like most of the time, the design is already made. Well, sometimes even more than 100 years ago. So I don't want to disturb that piece, and I really have to stick to what it is. What we told earlier about the landscape, sure. Okay, you have to make a landscape, and it has to look like a Dutch landscape. But for the rest of it, you're kind of free to make the landscape the way you want it to be. And except for that, once in a while, there are people who want a really unique plate or vase. So they order something, they send a few ideas, and they tell you, like, I want a plate with my dog on it, and he has to play in the yard with a ball. And then you really can add some creativity. So it all happens.
Yeah, good.
But
good.
Copying happens the most.
Now, I'm just going back to mistakes quickly. There was a couple more questions on.
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah. Well, first one, if something ever breaks, is there a repair process that can be made depending on the level of breakage? So if it's shattered, it's not going to be repaired. But if something cracks off, can you repair it, or is it no?
I think there might be some specialists who like to try to repair it, but we don't have real good experience with it, I guess, because we don't do it ourselves. Normally, if something is broken, which is bought here, we might just make a completely new one. It's probably even faster and cheaper. But yeah, it isn't the same piece. But repairing it can be done. We don't do it. And I think that's, just because it's really hard, really time consuming, and you always will see that it is repaired.
Right. And another one along the same lines is when you're finished with the painting and you're happy with it, is there someone else who needs to officially approve it to be, okay, this is a finished piece? Or is it just when you're done, it's done?
No, like actually the whole process is more like checking if it's okay. Like even when I'm painting, we have like a master painter chef. It's like the floor boss. He also checks if it's looking good and if you're doing it right and stuff, even after you've become a master painter. Then whenever it's completely finished, he'll check again. Then it goes to the factory where somebody's going to glaze it. He will also inspect the whole piece. Well, the person who glazed it probably will bring it to the oven where it will get fired. And whenever it gets out of the kiln, it will be checked again because there might also have happened something in the kiln. And after that, it will go into the shop. And whenever a customer is looking to buy a piece, the customer mostly will check it also. So it has a lot of checks before buy it.
And if during one of those checks, if it's deemed that it's not right, does it go back to you to fix, or is it just thrown away?
Well, sometimes if something is spotted after it has been glazed, there is nothing we can do with it anymore, because the glaze is so rock solid, so hard. So then it's almost impossible to make changes. But whenever, for example, this one is finished and the person who will glaze it notices something that is not right, then I might still add something to make it right. But we can't go back. So if I put something there which shouldn't have been there, then I've got a problem. But it sometimes happens that we forgot to put a name on the bottom, for example. Then we get it back like, hey, who made this? There's no name. So
it does happen that we sell shards, broken pieces as well.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And there's a Dutch saying, I don't know if you have it in English as well, that shards bring you luck. So it's a kilo of luck that you that you can get in a box or something like that. And it's very popular among artists that want to do mosaics or.
Yes, that was my next question. Someone asked, are they used for mosaics or something else? If they're
they are,
pieces?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more and more actually. We get a lot of artists these days coming to pick up their box of luck with the shards in it. So.
And speaking of signatures, do you always sign the bottom? So if it either the back of the plate or the bottom of the vase, or if it's something more intricate, is there always a signature on it?
Yeah. The only thing I think where there's not a signature on it are those buttons on your suit. What's the English for that?
The cufflinks?
Yeah, because they will be put in a silver piece that attaches this to the suit, so you won't see the sign. But I think that's about the only piece without.
Yeah,
I imagine those are maybe one of the harder ones to tell if they're real or not, then, because you can't really look at the bottom and see if it's been signed.
Yeah. Probably. They're also one of the harder ones to paint because they are so small.
They're tiny, yeah.
Try to paint a landscape on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the cufflinks. I don't have a lot of shirts that they fit in, but I always put them in.
back to codes and signatures. Can people find out what the codes are for the year, or are they last one year?
It's on our website, and we started off in 1879 with these codes, and we started off with an A. The next year, 1880, it was a B, C, and so on, until we were out of letters. So then it was AA, AB, AC, and so on. So you could always calculate the year. This is a bit more tricky, or you can take a look at the website where we have the full list of all the years.
Because to make it easy, they also remove the Q after 3 times.
Oh, really?
So,
I didn't
yeah.
know.
So after a few run-throughs, the alphabet only had like 25 characters. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's gonna get really difficult. Just
Good.
look up the list. Yeah.
And the other piece on the signature, we had a guest ask because she has a piece with HLE on it. There's always a 3-digit or three letter code too?
Well, in the very past, the initials were just 2 characters, but yeah, the combination of 2 characters runs out pretty fast, and everybody has to have his or her unique a name. So that's why we went to 3 ones, so we had a lot more combinations. Right. And what were the characters on the plate that were asked for?
HLE. Is that you?
No, it's not me. But like I said, like in the 60s, there were like 150 painters at that moment. So maybe in the whole decade of the 60s, there were maybe like 300, 400, 500 different painters working here.
Probably an old painter.
Yeah.
We do have books with all the initials that we know of.
Yeah.
We don't have them all, but if you have a visit, we have the book with all the initials in it. So
when we have a coffee break, we'll look it up.
We have a couple more minutes here. We got a lot of really good questions, and this one just came in based on signatures. They have a vase with the base of it is signed by someone, and then the lid is signed by someone else. Is that typical? That the pieces are done by different painters?
Well, we try, and that's really try, to make one whole piece by just one painter. But there have been times that not everybody was allowed to make the whole piece. There's even been times that some people made the inside of the plate and somebody else made the border of the plate. But nowadays, even if a piece consists out of 10 different pieces, the idea is that just one painter makes the whole thing. But indeed, in the past, yeah, it happened.
Got it. Okay. Back to artwork. I wanted to ask, there's many, you mentioned earlier, those designs are hundreds of years old. Are there ever new designs created? Or are you just carrying on the past? Well,
both. Like every year there are at least a few new designs. Like we have a tradition of making a new Christmas plate every year. So we've got a lot of different ones by now. And like we talked about with the collaboration with the tattoo artist, we also made new designs together with him. A few years ago, we made some kind of doll based on Mary II that was modular. There's also, in my eyes, a pretty modern piece.
Yeah.
Also designed, at least the patterns, the art designed by the painters here. So yeah, it does happen, like not every week, but on a year basis. Yeah, we try to make some new pieces now and then.
Great. I want to get into just production and shipping if I can for the last kind of segment. There's been a bunch of questions. Is there a capacity limit on the amount of pieces you make per year? I mean, you mentioned you had 10 painters, so how many pieces can you create with 10 painters, and is there a cap, or do you have to hit a certain number? Or
Well, we haven't had that many visitors last year, of course, because it was a completely different year. So we have a full storage at the moment. But yeah, I don't know the exact amount of pieces that we make, but there's no limit to it. It's just like we have a capacity that is equal to the amount of painters that we have, and they take a look at the storage and which pieces we have, which pieces we sold, and then they tell the painters what to paint. So this is all, yeah.
If we make not enough pieces, we have to speed up, or we have to hire new painters.
That does happen as well.
Yeah.
One question I actually forgot to ask about the design that a guest actually wrote in prior to today, and a lot of guests have actually asked as well. Are there ever any different colors used other than blue? And if there were, why? Or is there some story behind why there was a different color used?
Well, actually, this company was founded in 1653, but even earlier than that, they started off with different colors, and the techniques came from Spain and Italy. It was called the Maiolica. So they've been doing that throughout the history. And before this product that we make, it wasn't called Delft Blue. This was only in the 19th century, when this company was already 200 years old, that they started calling it Delft Blue, because that's the product that we made that people like the most. But there's a lot of different collections that we made over the years. For instance, the Delft Black collection, or Pijnakker, which is a red collection with gold in it. So a lot of those items were made. Nowadays, we only have 2 collections in the hand-painted area, which is the polychrome. It's a multicolor technique with red and green and yellow as well. And of course, the Delft Blue pieces.
Got it. Thank you, Edo. That was a popular question that was kept coming up. So good.
The other colors also just painted in that color already. The only one that shifts color is the blue one.
Yeah.
So that's the real one.
Well,
that's the original, how it was originally intended to be made, right? With burned in the kiln to create the color.
Well, you know, in the 17th century, blue was a very popular color, even more so than gold at that time, because it was really rare in nature and all that. So they discovered this cobalt and the way it turned out when fired. And that was so unique that rich people filled their houses with it. They had blue all around, and yeah, it stuck around all this time.
Yeah, great. These little pieces behind me.
Yes.
Do you know what those are? Or what they're made for?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you made those? Do you know?
We haven't made the KLM houses that you get when you fly business class. They were not made in this factory. I think the business class would be even more expensive if we did. So they are unfortunately by KLM machine made. We do have our own houses, which you will see have a little bit of a different price tag. What we did do is we made the security video when you fly Royal Dutch KLM. We made the security video here in the factory. So it's a video made out of all different tiles, and they are shot like after each other, like an old cartoon or something like that. So that's cool. Together with KLM.
These sort of more unique pieces, other than vases or plates, are they made a lot, or is it are you typically painting just plates primarily, and then these are all kind of just fit in whenever?
Well, those special requests, sometimes I think that's what you mean. Because sometimes special request is just like, again, a plate like this one we shown a few times earlier. Just sometimes it's only like names on a existing plate. And like a plate like this, I think almost every day there is a request for one or maybe 2 like these. But real, bigger, crazier, special plates. Yeah, it happens on a weekly basis, but not daily.
Okay.
And we're still with like 10 painters. So whenever we get a really amazing, cool idea, yeah, it's just a 10% chance that I'm the one that's going to make.
Right. Well, it's better than 150 out of 150, right?
Yeah, true.
Actually, a good question just came through. How many of the 10 painters there now are master painters?
I think 4 officially, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's about
So
half.
the other 6 are just there for like 5-6 years probably. So also pretty close to, but not yet.
Right. Now, shopping wise, getting those home, how are they packaged and shipped so that they don't break? Because I imagine there's a lot.
The most asked question. Shop and online. No, we have a lot of experience with shipping to America. So we ship it off at DHL Express, and we are used to people traveling. So we can hold it here for a couple of weeks until people come home and they can receive it themselves. There's a shipping fee, but the good thing is that if you ship it over to America, we subtract the taxes right away in the shop, and we have a 21% tax in the Netherlands. So there's a lot of discount, and then you have a little bit of shipping costs. But yeah, it's wrapped very well, and it's secured. It's insured as well. So if anything breaks, you can just send us an email, and we'll ship off a new piece.
Okay, got it. Actually, a really good question that just came in. A master painter typically takes 10 years, right? But is it just 10 years, or do you have to have a certain quality to your work that is deemed masterful in order for you to have that title?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, actually it is.
This response says it all.
There have been people working here for like 40 years and never became a master painter.
Wow.
So it's not just be here like 10 years and it's okay. Now you really have to be able to paint in a certain quality in a certain amount of time. You have to be able to paint everything, so including the portraits. And in the past, you also have to be able to teach the newer generations. Well, now I'm not sure, but probably still there. But so yeah, you have to really fulfill a lot of qualities, not just being here for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Do all the painters are all of the painters Dutch, or do people come in that want to be painters who are not Dutch?
Well, we have painters with double nationalities, I think,
but not completely foreign, or how do you say that? It's we have a Russian lady who was already living in the Netherlands, and a very creative lady as well, and she's become one of the master painters. But usually they speak Dutch. The language here on the working floor is also Dutch, so it's more convenient if they can speak a little Dutch.
Right. Okay, but they don't. It's not necessarily a requirement to be.
No, not necessarily. No.
Okay. Okay. I think my last question here is: a vase like that, Laurens, how much would that cost? When you're masterfully done with it.
I really don't know, actually. It's so stupid. I paint all those pieces and I walk through the shop like almost every day, but most of the time I just forget to check the price tags on it.
I think it's about 2,000 euros, which is quite similar to dollars at the moment. It does contain a lid as well, this one.
I think it's more expensive.
With a lion on it. Maybe a little bit more expensive. Maybe 3,000.
How are the prices determined? Are they the same? Is it just based on the size of the piece, or does it have anything to do with
well, of course, it goes through the whole hand-making process in the factory as well. We take that into account, but basically we calculate the minutes that is used to paint something like this. And there's a price per minute that we use to calculate the prices for vases like this one. Got it. And we do that quite precisely. We also have very weird prices. 75 cents or something like that. I never understood that, but it's like a literal translation of the minutes that is used to paint something.
When I start painting, I put my stopwatch, and whenever the time's up, I just quit.
Well, when we
Then
need
it's
to
done.
test that, yeah.
Are you that might take you 3 weeks, right? So you can add a little bit more time to it, right? And make it a little bit more expensive.
Yeah. Then a chef might not be happy if it takes him 3
Yeah.
hours. Could happen. Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Edo, Laurent. This has been really fun, really good to learn about what you do and Royal Delft and everything that goes along with it. Is there anything you wanted to close with, Edo or Laurent, before I just do a quick closing myself?
Well, I just want to thank for the nice questions. It was really cool to answer them, at least to try to answer them. So thank you.
Yeah, same goes for me. And I really hope that some visitors will be able to visit us again in November, December, the Christmas tours, and we're going to make something very unique for them when they visit. So yeah, I hope to see everybody in real life.
Thank you, Edo. Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen one more time. And as Michelle mentioned earlier, and Edo just mentioned, we are very hopeful to run the cruise you see here, Yuletide Spirit, this year during holiday time. It is not confirmed yet, but we hope to run it. But both of these cruises are running in 2022, and they are open now for you to check into and book if you would like. We also do have a number of other journeys that are currently open right now for travel this year, including a number of river cruises. And you can find those at tauck.com/open. And you can also request brochures on the website as well. And as I mentioned before, this presentation was recorded and all of our other presentations are recorded. So if you do want to go back and look at them, please visit our blog page, tauck.com/blog. And with that, thank you so much, Edo and Laurent, again. Thank you, Michelle, for joining. And thank you all of you out there for joining as well. So I hope everyone has a wonderful evening or afternoon or wherever you're coming from. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.